beneath the lantern by the barricade.
Turning back the clock to the early 1940s, remembering a dark time in Australia's history.
The terrible cost of war is horrible.
An exhibition spanning across 4 days is offering locals an insight into Australia's role in the Second World War.
The things that we show here are simply representations of what was going on at that time.
The heritage pavilions at Bathurst Showground are packed with memorabilia for the event.
We estimated 3,000 items. I reckon it's probably close to 6,000 or 7,000.
On show, everything from photos to models, but for curator Alan McRae, there's one item that is extra special.
My father flew those in the war as part of Bomber Command.
Today's students were the first to catch a glimpse of the historical exhibition, with organisers also putting on a show.
I'm dressed as a World War II captain.
Some of the equipment used during the various battles stands proud as visitors hear stories of how they were used by our Defence Force.
We had a crew of half a dozen at least running this gun.
This is an opportunity for the community and the surrounding area to come down and really learn about our history and our past.
Those lessons of war still ringing true today.
Mateship, their cooperation, all those things that make us Australian in times of difficulty.
To see the collections, all you need is a gold coin or $5 donation. A small price for a hands-on experience. Ruben Spargo, 7 News.
You'd always be my lily of the land, like my old Lily Marley.
And I'm the curator of this exhibition, and I'm also the Vice President of the Bathurst District Historical Society.
Wonderful, and you're doing such great things, and this is marvellous, even better than marvellous display. I've never seen anything to the extent. It must have taken such a lot of planning.
Oh, well, it has. So we started off roughly 4 years ago, and we were all ready to go, and then COVID hit, and we had to change our date 5 times.
Goodness.
Which is quite a number, really. Logistically, having to contact everyone each time and saying, all that date's now defunct, and we're trying to get to the next date, and then it kept going on and on. But I'm really happy that it's actually all come together now.
For sure. And the exhibits would come from all over Australia?
Yes, we've got the people here from Queensland, ACT, throughout New South Wales, a lot of Central West people. We've got people coming from Victoria and the ACT.
Wonderful. And the exhibits are in particular sections of the building, are they? Have you got it arranged in an order?
Not really in order. It's what fits into each pavilion. So you've got sort of all the edge displays, and then in the middle you've got other displays. So they've gone from things like model aircraft, RAAF display, they've got prisoners of war displays, general military displays. We estimated that something like 3,000 items. I reckon it's probably closer to 6,000 items. So it's quite a massive undertaking to get all of that in and laid out, ready for the schools and the general public to come.
Oh, for sure. And the photographs, the extent of the photographs and the way they've been presented and laminated and written about, what a huge amount of work to have done, but what a wonderful resource.
Oh yeah, it is. Excellent resource. That's the largest number of photos that we've blown up to A4, so there's nearly 800 of those that we've just blown up and mounted. We've kept the same sort of method going from the World War I exhibition that we did in the Walshaw Hall, and you'd remember that.
Yes.
Well, this is about 12 times bigger than that exhibition.
Yes, to look at it all would take quite a number of hours.
Oh, it took me nearly 6 months to research the 800
Yeah.
photos, and then it was ongoing as we added a bit more, adding a bit more, and then we finally had to say, well, that's it, that's the most we can hang in the one go. And it's quite a large number of items, but in saying that, some people will only want to read something that they might notice in the caption. It may be a battalion or it may be a name, and then they want to read a reasonable amount of material. So while there's an awful amount of research just gone into it, because you have to give the context of these men serving and why they might have gone to New Guinea and not to some other place. So that basically all Australian servicemen were either in England, North Africa, Egypt, all in through there. Had a chap here last night having an early look, and he spotted a rat of Trubrook, and he didn't know that his uncle had been a rat. He just happened to have a photo of some medals on his phone, and I said, yep, well, that tells you exactly he was a rat of Trubrook, and you've got a famous fella.
Oh, for sure. There'll be a lot of stories and discoveries made by the people visiting and by the displayers themselves.
You'll see each person that has lent us photos. I've researched the photos for them, and then when I'm finished that, I send it to them to read, and they'll say, oh, fascinating, didn't know anything about that. And that's probably the thing, they've had all these photos in the cupboard, in a drawer somewhere or whatever, and no one in the family's tried to research anyone. So, yeah, there's a lot of hours involved. It could take me 4 and 5 hours just to do one because of the research I've got to do and find out where they were.
Oh, you're a great credit. It's so wonderful to have someone like you in the historical sense, and also in the other areas too, gem collecting and all of that too. You're full of energy.
Yep.
And the Historical Society would be actively involved in this, of course, the members.
Oh yes, they are. A lot of the Historical Society are the volunteers, as are other organisations like Family History and other group that look after the old ag farm up at Mitchell College, or ex-Mitchell College, and it's a great help, and also they have to be commended because the shifts are 4-hour shifts, which is a fair while to spend down here in these cool pavilions.
For sure. And the displays I'd seen before in the bicentenary, but much more of them, is that the work of Greg Ingersoll and yourself in designing those wonderful displays?
Oh, the stands for the photos. Yeah, more Greg than me. I just gave him the idea, and then he modified it and had it all done and made it all, and he's since made a little modification that we've suggested, just to make them more versatile.
Yes.
And all they're there for the society or anyone else to use.
That's wonderful, and I noticed too a number of movies playing, which will be a great attraction for people.
Yeah, well, they're all authentic. So, I think we've got 4 screens all together. The largest one behind us here, and it's sort of the semi-darkness adds to the atmosphere that it used to be like in the old picture theatres.
For sure, yes, that's really great. Well, Alan, I'll certainly come back later on after the 3 or 4 days and get an interview. You'll have an idea of how many people or how
Yes,
popular?
yes, we are recording the number of people that come through. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, it's already starting
Yes.
on the first day.
Yes.
It's good to see the school groups involved. It's an important aspect
I'm
of their
thrilled with
history.
that some have taken the opportunity. A lot of others are certainly missing out. But yeah, the ones that had through this morning, they've been well behaved.
Yes,
And
there's so much interest.
it's, yes.
The military interest is
yes,
certainly there.
It's all the stuff. Yep.
Yes. Well, Alan, again, I'm astounded with the quality and quantity of the display, and I'll have a talk a little bit later to see how it's all gone. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
We're outside the Brown Pavilion in the Bathurst Showground, about to enter the military display. Huge display. The first day, lots of school children have been looking around.
Well, we've come through 2 wars. To the men who sang these songs, we owe so much more than we can ever think. All we can do now is ensure that it won't happen again and say sincerely and very gratefully, bless 'em all, bless 'em all.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Welcome. Good morning.
It's good to see you there, and you're generously volunteering, are you?
Yes,
it's so great to see so many volunteers there are
Well, I
at the
think
different
it needs
groups.
a few.
It certainly does. It's a huge display, isn't it?
Well, and there are people from all over. We've had people here from Cookville, from Candos, from Coolah, people coming up from Sydney. It's amazing the interest.
Oh, and for sure, and the school children, they would also be involved coming in.
Yes, we've had several groups in this morning.
Oh, isn't that good? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and they're bringing in some colouring
Right.
pictures,
Posters and things,
in
yes.
return they get a penny.
Oh,
Yes.
isn't that a good idea?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, it's so great of you as volunteers, and I hope it all goes well. I'm sure it will. It's such a
Yeah, it looks
marvellous
good so
display.
far. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Bless 'em all, bless 'em all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their blinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all, as back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless 'em all.
Mask off, Bruce, or do you want me to leave the mask for historical authenticity?
Okay. I might ask you a couple of questions. John and Denise Payne, you're out looking at this display, and you'll find it's a very comprehensive display which the Historical Society have put on. Denise,
Looks wonderful.
you would have seen the bicentenary display, and John...
Yes, well, I remember that very, very fondly, and So I've only just walked in the door, but I'm very impressed with these portraits and the details of so many people. Yeah.
People have put a huge amount of work into this.
Isn't it? Yes, Alan was saying many months or years in researching the photos.
Finding the photographs too.
All data. And this is people from Bathurst and women who served in World War II. This man here, where is he? Here. This is Albert Evans. He was the bursar at All Saints College a long time, like 40 years or something. He was a stalwart of the school. And all these other faces are local faces, people who served. Yeah? Does anyone have any great-grandparents who served in World War II? Yeah, where'd they serve? In France?
Dennis, this is a very comprehensive display. Could you tell me about it?
Yeah, certainly. My name's Dennis Graham. I'm an ex-Air Force and a collector of Air Force memorabilia. And here we have a selection of stuff from the Second World War, mainly personal stuff and medals. I've been collecting for a fair while now, and I love the chance to get out and display it to people.
Oh, wonderful. And as a collector, you look up different papers or hear about it on a newsletter. How do you find things you want?
Oh, through other collectors. eBay's a popular place to find memorabilia.
Oh, sure.
And I still have contacts within the Air Force, and people still keep donating stuff to my collection. Yes, a lot of time to purchase it. Everything from medals and badges, uniforms, headwear, etc. Escaping items, carcasses and things like that.
That's indeed wonderful. And such a range of items, aren't they, when you look at all the gear they needed in that time?
Yeah, things like flying boots
yes.
and goggles and flying helmets.
Right.
They're not as sophisticated as the stuff we have today, but it served the purpose at the time.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dennis.
All right, thank you.
They say there's a troop ship just leaving from Maine, bound for old Tiny shore. Heavily laden with time-expired men, bound for the land they adore. There's many a soldier just finishing his time.
Alan, what you were saying before, here is your and the Society's wonderful display. It would have taken a lot of research.
The 800 odd photos are here. It took nearly 6 months of constant research, hours and hours and hours every day. And I've also had a couple of excellent proofreaders, one with a general knowledge or a good knowledge of World War II, and he proofread it, and then someone else did the grammar type corrections and consolidation. So a real team effort to actually get that done. But once the research is all done, you've actually got it there for something possibly in the future.
Yes, and it would be all digitised too, would it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent.
I had to scan all 2,000 photos. Some people were able to send me a scan of a reasonable size, but most people don't understand on scanning and resolution. So it's a large aspect of what you do. There's no use having a photo if you can't blow it up. So.
Yes, and I would imagine the Historical Society would take a keen interest in the new collection centre being built.
Oh yes. It actually will be good. It's a credit really to the Bathurst Regional Council and Central New South Wales, I suppose you could say, because a greater area will actually benefit from it. So it's good.
And we ourselves, where we've had to store our films or videos in the old archive section of the library have been looking forward for a place like that so we can at least see what we've got to find the
well, that's right. Well, that's right. If everything's piled up and you really can't get access to it, it's really awkward to put on special displays and all that type of thing. So you need to know what you've got. So it has helped the society in relation to speeding up all the records on all the various items.
Wonderful. Alan, so much interest, all the diversity of these. You were telling me about these particular shots.
Yeah, now these photos here, I had a chap about a fortnight ago ring me up and say, I've got a book here that you might be interested in. So he brought it home and I had a look, and as you open it you see Ray Smith, and he's in the 2nd 3rd Pioneer Battalion. And I said to him, gee, I've just done a whole lot of photos of Ray Smith. And I said they're in North Africa. And you'll notice on these photos that they have a lot of scratches. And the scratches are the sand that got into the back of the camera. So every time they wound it on, they scratched the film. And I thought, gee, I could clean these up, but it's really part of its
nature or
nature or its history. And so I've actually left them on. But if they hadn't taken those photos, we wouldn't have any record, really. There are other photos obviously taken that are in the War Memorial and that type of thing. But yeah, it's really great to get some of these original and actually see the conditions that all they had to dig a hole in the ground, they might cover it up with corrugated iron, but the corrugated iron got hot, so you never get away from the heat, really. And then they'd have a sandstorm, or they might have a tank fight, and they're standing outside watching all these tanks fighting. So certainly history in the making, and a wonderful thing to have these days. See, I didn't expect to be able to get stuff like this. That's German Army.
We had won the last war, the war to end all wars, and so we started the next in superb confidence. The Maginot Line would hold the Nazi hordes, and it wouldn't be too long before we were using their lines for a comfortably domestic purpose. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line, 'cause the washing day is near. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line, if the Siegfried Line's still there. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line, 'cause the washing day is near. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line, if the Siegfried Line's still there.
I gave that photograph to Alan, and Alan said, you can't tell me who they are, eh? And I said, what do you think I am? How the hell do I know who they are? He said, you're bold. I said, I'll give you a
Now this is number one, and the story's just begun. Roll me over, blow me down, he's at it again. Roll me over in the clover. Roll me over, blow me down, he's at it again. Now this is number two, and I don't know what to do. Roll me over, blow me down, he's at it again. Roll me over.
Jacob, you've got the full uniform on. Can you tell me about it?
Certainly. So what I'm doing at the moment is an impression of an Australian soldier from the 2nd and 5th Battalion of the 6th Division Australian Army. This particular uniform we wore in our first major offensive led by General Lavelle. Now, this particular offensive was to take Bardia from the Italian 10th Army. It was our first major offensive that we participated in during the war, and we were able to push the Italians out of Bardia within 2 days.
Very efficient operation.
Certainly was.
Yes. Tell me about the rifle.
So this particular rifle is a 1920 Lithgow number 1 Mark III Star made at the Lithgow Small Arms Factory in 1920. Now, it was sent to the 5th Military District in South Australia in the late 1920s, and then on to North Africa, the Mediterranean, Greece, Crete, Lebanon throughout the Second World War. Whereupon from that theatre of war, it was sent over to the Pacific. And in the Pacific, from there, it came back to Australia and was deployed to Korea. Now, the infantryman carrying this rifle in Korea has come to grief, so he's been killed or injured by a landmine or artillery shell, and he's dropped his rifle. And all this damage you see on this rifle is all shrapnel damage from that particular event during the Korean War. And after the war, this rifle has been picked up, brought back to Australia, and undergone what's called a factory thorough repair, which means that the factory has taken this rifle in, replaced any damaged parts, and then it's been sold on to the civilian market, and from there I've picked it up.
Tell me a bit about your organisation.
So we're a sort of loose band of collectors, living history buffs and historians. Our organisation's called Lithgow Living History, but we come from all around Australia. We're going to have guys here who come from Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, who are part of our organisation. And this is what we do. We go around, we tell the story of the Australian Army, we keep the stories of our diggers alive, and we sort of tell people the events, explain to people what happened. And our ultimate goal is to make sure that this sort of stuff never happens again.
Yes, that's for sure. And you were telling me that you had been over at Cowra.
Yes, we were part of the Cowra breakout ceremony, part of the honour guard, so there were 4 of us, and we were all wearing the uniforms of the 22nd Garrison, which was the militia battalion stationed in Cowra guarding the prisoner of war camp. We were there, we were part of the honour guard, we did drill, laid wreaths and participated in the ceremony for the Japanese. We then went up to the Japanese tea gardens with tea with the Japanese ambassador.
Excellent. Doing great things.
Absolutely.
And it's most fortunate I came across you in the links there. It's great.
Most certainly.
Graham, what a wonderful display. It's yours, no doubt.
Yes, it is mine. It's about a quarter of the ones that I've got. And Alan McRae asked me if I was interested in bringing them down, and I said I would. So I've selected a whole lot of aeroplanes from World War II.
And such a lot of work must go into them.
Yes, some of them take me just a few days, others take months.
Yes,
because some of them are converted. They're not actually a model that you can buy in a kit. I've had to convert quite a few of them from the parts that I've had in the box.
So it's I've also another aspect I noticed. Well, you were telling me that you used to listen to some of our it wasn't behind the news, it was talking education in the West and around the schools.
Behind the scenes, around the schools, yes. I do remember those. I remember doing a program with David Simmons back in 1975 or 1976, yes.
That's great. I think back, it couldn't be 20 or 30 years ago, but it is, the time rolls on.
It does, doesn't it? Well, 1975 is, 42, 43 years ago. Yes.
You would display these quite often or not often?
No, not very often. Individually, I take them to displays at model shows and things like that. But most of the time they stay in their boxes or in their display cabinets at home. Yeah.
But you have such a wide understanding of the different aircraft.
I started building them when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Oh, did you? Right.
It was my form of relaxation when I was working. I would spend Friday nights and sometimes a bit of Saturday building them.
Right.
And I was a school teacher for 31, 32 years.
Right.
So it's a very relaxing thing for me.
Yeah. Wonderful indeed. Now, is there any particular one you'd like to show us in detail?
I'm just trying to think. Well, probably this one down here. Let's say when the Allies invaded Europe on their way to overcoming Germany, they used these big gliders to carry troops in. And they were towed across the English Channel and then released, and they glided down and disgorged their men and their equipment, and that helped them overcome the enemy. That particular one is quite famous because they were part of the market garden activity, which the film A Bridge Too Far was all about, where they landed beside the wrong bridge over the Rhine River.
Dark days indeed, but we sang bright and cheerful songs. Remember this one? Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun.
Wayne, what a wonderful display. Tell me a bit about it, how you came to get it assembled.
Well, I've been doing antiques and collectibles for, over 40 years, but in the last 20 years, and it was, I suppose, led on by the fact that my grandfather having fought for 3 different countries, and my brother having been a tracker in NAM, 68, 69, that I started to lean towards doing military. Because it actually just means something. It just means a little more than selling a piece of crockery or, So that's, and in the end, once you've been doing it a few years, people come to you with things. And look, I don't have a problem because I have the buyers now over a matter of time to pick the stuff up.
And do you display often, or?
Well, look, I do a weekly market, but with very, very little of only a few showcases of this.
Yes.
This is an opportunity. Maybe we get that 3-4 times a year around Australia to be able to come and do something that's based around military more than anything else. Because you're full of stories, everybody's full of stories. I get told amazing stories, and I've got the silly sort of head that they go round and round and sit down and they're ready to come back out.
Yes, wonderful.
I mean, one of the things we do each year is the Clarencetown Swim-In on the first weekend in November up at Clarencetown, where we take a lot of the amphibious vehicles up there on the William River. Look, we have half-tracks and tanks and so on there as well, and people come past the store. And there's a couple come past, they're obviously grey nomads, they've got a couple of dogs there walking on the Saturday afternoon. And I started having a chat to them, they'd be in their early 80s I suppose. And I said to the lady, did you have anybody who served? And she said, yes, my father served in World War II. And of course, I asked, how did he go? And she said, unfortunately, we lost him. Well, the next question, would you like to talk about it? She said, oh, I don't mind. She said, they're on a Dakota going from Australia to New Guinea, and they lost the plane in a storm, and they lost them all. Well, the next question I asked, and the final question I asked was, what did he do? And she said, well, the plane was flying from Canberra to New Guinea, and he just relinquished command of the 2nd Division and was going to New Guinea to take command of the 6th Division. And I'm a little bit speechless, because what we're talking about is a Brigadier General, at least. Would have been one of the major disasters, during the war that the Australians suffered with their chiefs of staff. So these are the stories that just come out.
That's great.
Yes, and there's going to be a lot more people here today.
So lots of cars already coming in. Should be a very popular day with other things happening too in the showground. Sheep judging.
We've got the blues on the run. Sing, boo, tararo. Bring out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to blow the barrel, for the gang's all here.
Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel, we got the blues on the run. Sing, boom, tararo, ring out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel, for the gang's all here. For the gang's all here.
Oh, King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three. Now every fiddler had a very fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he.
Oh, fiddle-diddle-dee, said the fiddlers, merry, merry men are we, but none so fair as can compare with the boys of the infantry.
Now King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his sergeants three. Now every sergeant had a very fine voice, and a very fine voice had he.
Go, move to the left, increase of sergeants, fiddle-diddle-dee, said the fiddlers, merry, merry men are we, but none so fair as can compare with the boys of the infantry.
Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Down came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Up rode the squatter mounted on his thoroughbred. Up rode the troopers, 1, 2, 3, saying, where's that jolly jumbuck you've got in your tucker bag?
John Telfer, we're here today at the military display. There's certainly a lot of people coming in.
Yes, there certainly is. There's been a huge amount of people through yesterday, including quite a number of schools from Bathurst and around the district. Today, being a Saturday, we'll probably see a much bigger crowd today. And it looks like there's a lot of people in already, and it's only about 10:30 in the morning.
Yes, I could hear in the background our display going on. You've set it up very well, John.
Yes, we've been lucky to be able to get some space to set up our display with a continuous looped video showing some of the events in relation to World War II that have happened in Bathurst, particularly marching through of the HMS Bathurst crew, also the Festival of Bells, and quite a number of various years of the Anzac Day celebrations here in Bathurst.
It's so good to hear the Caribbean playing the proper way it was designed.
Yes, it's sounding lovely in our video, and again today at 1 p.m. or 12 to 1 p.m. and 12 to 1 p.m. tomorrow, the Caribbean will be playing in the park as a commemoration to this celebration today for World War II.
That's good. And in helping me set up this, or not me setting it up, I did some of the filming, but you've also been working with Alan McRae in the overall display. It's such a huge display, isn't it?
It is, and so much respect goes out to the Bathurst volunteers, and Alan in particular, for setting up this festival. It's been cancelled a number of times, so the amount of work that all the volunteers had to do and redo has been absolutely amazing. So a big thank you goes out to the Bathurst Historical Society, Bathurst Remembers, and all the wonderful volunteers that have helped set up this today.
and particularly also the exhibitors that have come from right around the state and even right around Australia to come and exhibit here today.
Thank you, John, and really sincere thanks for setting up this display here. It's such a satisfaction to see it there, and we're using some of the old posters or boards that we had at the bicentennial.
Almost drives you crazy when you get used to it. If the war has made you blue and you don't know what to do, just put your troubles on the shelf, forget your cares and tell yourself it's wonderful. It's marvellous. You'll get to like it more in every way. You gotta get used to it, and you'll get used to it, providing that you live to see the day. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Oh, the army, bless the army, you'll get used to it. When you go on leave to find that the girl you left behind has been as true in every way as you have been to her, I'll say it's wonderful. It's marvellous. Now two can always play at every game. You gotta get used to it, and you'll get used to it. But you'll have to find yourself another game. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Don't be nervous in the service. You'll get used to it. When the GOC's around and the colonel's hounding down, before the adjutant here just whisper in the phone. It's wonderful. Oh, it's marvelous.
Kathy, you're all adorned with the uniform. Could you tell me about that?
Yes, it's WAC, Women's Army Corps uniform. So from 1941 onwards, and saw action in the European theatre. It was a slightly different uniform for the Pacific people, but they were staff with the armies first in England, in the UK, and then when after D-Day went across to Europe, working as signallers, admin staff, that kind of thing.
Very good. And the group you're with today is a very extensive group, is it, in military memorabilia?
Yes, it is. So we do exhibitions throughout the year, but obviously the COVID has stopped us and slowed us down a little bit in the last couple of years, but here we are back again, so it's good to be.
So it's Lithgow, is it? Or where do you come from?
I'm actually from Bathurst.
Oh, you're Bathurst.
Yeah, I'm local.
Right.
But yes, our members are basically statewide, so all corners of New South Wales.
Wonderful. We'll just get a few cutaways. David, this is a great display that you have here. Could you tell me about it?
Yeah, it's just a basic first aid station that the guys would have out in the field with their units. sort of cross between a Section 8 station and a Battalion 8 station at the moment. So we've got car bandages, morphine, sutures, everything that they do to patch the guys up, get them back to the Battalion 8 stations, which are larger, they have hospitals there and that sort of stuff. So,
Well, and this group, where do you originate from?
I'm from Newcastle originally.
Oh, right. So, they've done a great job here, though, haven't they, in arranging so many displays? Yes.
It's a great event. I'm enjoying it. So,
Yeah.
first one for a few years for me, so yeah.
Yeah, it's great you've been able to come along. Thank you very much.
We're here with Oz Reenact today, and they've set up a wonderful display here. They got here late last night and probably spent most of the night setting all of this up, so a big thank you goes out to that group. But we've got some lovely people reenacting some of the stuff here today, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you.
I'm Hannelore Jukers, and I'm a Flak Helferin. And I'm a Flak Helferin, so we're anti-aircraft. So we're looking for any Lancasters or any bombers from America to come over. And Kathy here.
Yes, I've spoken to Kathy, so that's
Kathy,
good.
yes.
Well, that's great. It makes it come alive, doesn't it?
It does, and it's history that we sort of appreciate on both sides, having the home front. I'm on basically at the home front, so some of those big crack turn towers that you can see overseas still in Germany, they can't blow them up because they're so well built, but then there's so much to know with the history, and at home we're all the same, we're always scared of what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen, so you have to do that.
Yes, certainly again a worrying time in our world at the moment, and hopefully something like this will never happen again. But it is, like you said, history is an amazing thing, and there's so much to learn we don't already know. It gives us a greater insight of how our world works.
That's right.
Eddie, this is a wonderful display. Could you tell me about it?
Yes, so we are also Reenact. We are reenactment club, World War II reenactment club. Basically looking at the European theatre. What we've got here is a display which takes you from the German side to the American side, and then the Soviet as well, and some more American telecommunications table. What we've got here is two tribute motorcycles, BMW motorcycles, 750, 4 gears, side valves. We've got a 6-volt and a 12-volt motorcycle, and then up as a dispatch riders. This one, as you can see, says VM, Wehrmachtsmarine. So this is a Kriegsmarine, so a Navy motorcycle. And this one says, as you can see, WH or VH, which is Wehrmachtsherr, which is an army motorcycle. Very similar with a typical double gear.
For the period, they were quite a technological design is very similar, isn't it, to what has evolved from there?
That's correct. That's correct. Especially part of the engine, the side valve. You can still find other motorcycles done by other countries as well, both from the Swiss, the Russians, the tractor side valve.
Right. And this display, very extensive. Are you all a combined group, are you?
We're a combined club. All this side is a combined club. It's called Horse Reenact.
Right.
Horse Reenactment Club.
Well, thank you so much, Phil.
You're very welcome.
In all respects, the Cowra POW Breakout 60th anniversary was a great success. Not only did the many individual events held as part of the commemorations run very smoothly, but also a genuine sense of reconciliation and a desire to embrace international understanding filled the hearts of many of the participants. Cowra is a town with a unique and tragic past. It is also a town where something positive has developed from a tragic wartime incident. The 60th anniversary commemorations succeeded in promoting this hopeful message to everyone with a desire to strive for a more peaceful and tolerant world.
And were you displaying there at the breakout ceremonies?
Yes, I was at the breakout, the big breakout ceremony. We've had members of our group there just last week for the celebration.
Yes, and I remember the main street. You had some military vehicles. Yeah, that's a few years ago. We've just built that film. We must get you some of the films we've shot as the Bathurst Remembers project.
Lovely. That'd be wonderful. But as you can see further down the hall here, one of those vehicles that we had in the main street was my anti-aircraft gun.
Right.
And we were specifically requested to bring that here.
Right.
For this particular display.
Yes, I remember filming you. I think it was you on the anti-aircraft gun at that time. Could you now tell me a little bit about the rifles you have in front of you?
Certainly. The rifles that you can see here are basically Second World War rifles, but they had their genesis around about the turn of the century, and they were then basically minor alterations, changes made to them through the course of the war as requirements such as manufacturing speed, ease of getting materials, etc. And so there were various changes which we are showing here in this display.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, and it's great to see you guys out displaying the things. It's a wonderful educational experience for everyone, but also particularly the younger people.
Yes, well, a lot of people don't get to see the equipment that we have, and also the firearms need to be cared for. You need to be very careful with them, and that's what we try and reinforce with younger people as well as, and also we really celebrate how Australians have cared for each other through all kinds of adversity, in particularly, in this case, the Second World War.
Tell me your name and...
I'm Al Hammond.
That's right, and you're out today having a look at the display.
Yes,
are you impressed by it?
I am very impressed by it, and I'm here to help the crew manage the crowd. And it's considering the weather, I think we're very fortunate to have the crowd we got out today.
Yes.
And everybody very impressed. One of the things I am very tickled with is some of the older fellas that were here yesterday say, I'm coming back today, I'm coming back tomorrow, I'm coming back Monday. There's just too much to see in one day.
Yes.
And they're really thoroughly enjoying it.
Yes, for sure. And we've met before, haven't we, at the Bicentenary?
Oh, Bruce, we've met so many times
Yes.
with that camera in front of you.
Yes, it's nice looking back anyway. So we've got our display running over there, you might have noticed.
Yeah.
So John and I feel that displaying things is important, isn't it? As well as filming.
The history that you were recording over the years, Bruce, is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And long after you're gone, Bruce, people of Bathurst will be enjoying everything that you have done, and we really appreciate what you have done for the community.
Oh, well, I hope so. And yourself, your volunteering and participating is also so important to the development of history and getting people enthused with it.
Oh, well, thank you, Bruce. Starting to get a bit longer in the tooth like you, and we're slowing down a bit.
Yes.
And, but every now and then we do a bit of volunteering to keep things on an even keel. And if it wasn't for the volunteers, things would be kind of boring at times, I think. You know, it's a shame, and I guess one of the other things which is a big shame with things like this is that it's getting to the point where insurance companies are basically closed.
The insurance is pretty high, is it, for this sort of a...
Well, I'm not going to comment on this because I don't know in particularly, but we know right across the board that so many communities are having to shut down their volunteer services because the insurance costs are just too much. You know? It's a real shame. You almost think over the years that the risk hasn't increased that much, but somehow the cost of the policy seems to have gone way up.
Yes, that's for sure. Lovely seeing you again today.
It's good to see
Thank
you,
you for
Bruce.
the interview.
You have a good day. And hope you capture a lot of these displays on your
It's such a challenge. There's so much material there, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't resist taking as much as you can. Guys, you're having a very keen game of chess, is that right?
Yep.
That's right. And what a wonderful display you have here. And you're all geared out. Could you tell me a bit about the gear you're wearing?
I'm part of the 101st Airborne Division from the United States Army.
I'm part of the 6th Division, 6th Rifle Division, the Soviet Army, the Red Army.
Right, fascinating. And who's winning at chess today?
That's right. We are in Berlin, 1945.
Yes.
In between the Russian and American sectors.
Right.
And we're just playing a friendly chess game.
Right.
Of course, the Russians are winning.
Have more years to practice tactics.
Right. And tell me a bit about your organisation, where you come from and your displays.
We are part of an organisation called Reenact.
Right.
We represent the 101st Division US Army, also the 2nd Armored Division of the US Army, German, different parts of the German Army as well, Wehrmacht, we also have Luftwaffe, the paratroopers as well, and also the Russians.
Very good.
Alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, je te plumerai la tête.
Finding people here on this display. It's a wonderful display.
Why are we here? This is the memorial box from the Australian Museum. So it's called Museum in a Box.
Oh,
and they send
right.
them out to schools all over Australia. And what they have is a selection of artefacts from the War Memorial. And it's just a random selection, really. So anyone can access them if they
Yes,
ask
isn't
for
that
the
great?
museum. Yeah.
Right, they're doing lots of things with the War Memorial, and they've had
They
a
are.
renovation, I believe, which is
Yes,
great
very
to see.
popular with kids and school groups.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah, lots of them go there. Thousands and thousands,
Yeah.
tens of thousands every year go to Canberra for
Yes.
the War Memorial. And of course, we've had school groups in yesterday, and
Yes,
they really enjoyed it. You know, they were running around, very excited to see things and to talk to people. It was great.
Yes. And there's a good crowd here today, isn't there, coming through?
It's absolutely remarkable the number of people that are coming through. Every time you turn around, there's another lot of people coming through the door, and they're captivated, absolutely captivated by all the stories that go with the photographs of men and women who have been associated with Bathurst in some way in the Second World War, but also all the other exhibitions, and to see people in their uniforms, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, and people are thoroughly enjoying it.
That's for sure. And the Historical Society, they're doing so much, aren't they, for Bathurst and these sort of displays?
Very important to have these displays, and this one's been a long time.
I assume on the Historical Society, yeah, they're great, aren't they, doing so much?
Yes, and to have a display like this, to capture this particular period of history and how it's associated with Bathurst is really, really important. And what the photographic display does, it not only has the people who were related to Bathurst in some way, or to people who live here now, but also there are scenes of Bathurst during the war, a really important period of Australian and Bathurst history.
À la tête, alouette, alouette, oh, alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, je te plumerai le bec, à la bec, à la tête, alouette, oh, alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, je te plumerai le dos, à la dos, à la bec, à la tête, alouette, oh, alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, je te plumerai.
I didn't drive it. It's got a dolly trail on the front wheels going. It just gets it up off the ground, you lash them down, and then the front back wheels run along the road. Show it from there.
Okay, you're owner of this vehicle?
I am the owner.
Oh, that's
My
right.
name's John.
John, could you tell me about it?
Well, it's a 1943 Ford. It was one of 670,000 of them made during the war, and I acquired it as a basket case, and
Right.
then spent 5 years finding the bits and putting it all together, and that's why I christened it Doug, because I dug up a lot of the parts.
Oh, how great. And today there's quite a group of you, are there, that come
Yeah, we're
with
from
the
the
vehicle?
Australian Ex-Military Vehicle Collectors Society, and we're all members of the club, and we just do it for the fun of Jeeps.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the display here? Is it
It's
good?
Yeah, first class. We've had a look through the pavilions. A lot of stuff there I'd love to acquire for my collection, but belongs to other people's collections.
So you'd be kept pretty busy going to a number of displays now, especially that people are getting out again?
We don't do a lot of displays, but we do have a few outings. And we just go out for a day's drive, down to Wiseman's
Oh,
Ferry,
right, wonderful.
somewhere like that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Most of the members live in Sydney. Well, I shouldn't say that. The active members live in
Yes.
Sydney because they can get to the club meetings. But there's lots of country members. that are just members and get the newsletter every month and just like to stay in touch. And we come to somewhere like this and they live at Kelso or Safala or somewhere. And the boys are up here, I'll go in and join in.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, John.
You're welcome, anytime.
My name's Jan Thompson and I'm the Public Relations Officer of Military Vehicle Group of New South Wales.
Wonderful, and what a wonderful display of vehicles. Could you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, well, our club has been formed about 2 years ago, and we like to attend events similar to this. Sometimes we might do a bit of four-wheel driving and camping on people's properties, but going along to car shows and events such as this is one of our main priorities.
Oh, wonderful. So there's lots of contact in the membership, is there, and organisation?
Yes, we have a number of members, but we also encourage people from the local areas that we visit, if they've got military vehicles, to come and join us as well.
That's wonderful. And you have a vehicle here?
Yes, this is our 1988 Parenti, which is Land Rover, and they were used by the Army, and we purchased it about 6 years ago. And this is the vehicle that we can use for displays and anything and everything.
Yes.
I also have a World War II push bike, which we didn't bring this weekend, but it's a folding paratrooper push bike. And my husband has a Swiss push bike that was World War II as well.
Wonderful. And do you do restoring work at all of them, or you get some pristine models at times?
Most of the time we buy them so that they're in the condition that we can use them. We're not the best. We're not the best restorers, but there are other people amongst the group that are very good restorers.
And John, who's behind me, was mentioning we'll probably do a film. You no doubt would like a copy or like to know when it goes on air on the internet?
Yes, we would love it. That would be great. If we can link you up to our Facebook, that would be even better.
Oh, well, that sounds great. We'll certainly do that. Thank you so much for that.
That's okay, and we have different clubs in different states.
Oh, do you?
There's in March every year we meet annually at Corowa, which is on the New South Wales Victorian border, for our Corowa swim-in and military vehicle gathering, where we can sometimes get close to 300 ex-military vehicles to that event.
Alan, there are quite a number of movies screening. Can you tell me about those?
Yes, well, although they've been an outstanding success, people can't really get over all the material we've got. And we've got three PowerPoint screens, which have between them over 1,200 images on those, and then in the diagonally opposite corner we have the New Guinea Theaterette, which is a bit like what it would have been in the mid-1940s during World War II, and they're showing the newsreels of the day. So if you went to the pictures in 1942 or 43, 44, 45, then the first movie of the program would be a newsreel type movie about the war.
Tough and ruthless enemy, but we also realize that this job has got to be done, and if the enemy thinks he's going to stop us, well, he has another thing coming.
Fred Chichi, AMC of Sydney. Sister Savage was a great help, was she not?
Yes, Tom, she was marvellous. Even though severely injured, I never heard her complain once. The courage and fortitude amazed me.
And here is Sister Savage, still too ill to leave hospital.
I remember how my life felt.
About mid-1942 they started to produce these, and they were supplied free to the picture theatres to show the general public. So it was helping with the propaganda of World War II, but also letting people know how it really was, wasn't it? It was probably the first time, while there was a lot of censorship, an awful lot got through, so at least you knew that Sydney Harbour had been attacked. Mightn't be so many details, but even towards the end of the war they started to tour with one of the Japanese submarines to try and help raise more money for the war effort. And it's outside the War Memorial at the moment. Or it was last time I was there. There's all these screens. The PowerPoints have 3 different programs, and as I said, about 400 photos each, or 1,200 in all. Really great.
And setting up one of them with the old projector creates quite an illusion, doesn't it? The film.
It does, because movie film was 16mm at that time, and most of the movies that they were shown were in 32mm, and then they went up to 70 something. But it's really effective in there. The lighting's good, and the program's excellent.
We're at the military display at Bathurst, and you guys are certainly in keeping with the uniforms. I'll get you to just tell me a bit about your uniform first.
So I'll stand up. So this is when I first airborne.
Right.
It's got a patch there. Then just run down all the uniform, just standard pants, parachute boots. And we got M1 Garand webbing, which is set up for that. Holster for a 45.
Right. That's great.
And you've got your just medical pouch, colour, and everything else in between, and just little using that.
Right.
Usually I don't have a helmet on like him, but left it over somewhere else.
Okay, and you're getting quite a few people coming through today.
Yes, quite a few people coming through.
Yes. And whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Orange.
Oh, right.
So I didn't travel too far this time.
Yes. And so it's sort of a combined group, is it? You get together as a whole
we get together
company?
every
Yes.
month or two.
Right. The weather's been a bit unkind to us, hasn't it? In keeping warm. Yes. Yes. So, with this uniform, this would be World War II, is it? Or
that's correct. Yes. This uniform is the 35th Infantry Division of Normandy, 135th Regiment.
Right. And the badge, what does that one
signify? That's the 35th Infantry Division.
Right.
They're mostly National Guardsmen from Utah.
Yes. Wonderful. So the camouflage would work well, wouldn't it, in the situation? Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for that. Enjoy yourselves. Anthony, this is a very interesting display. Can you tell me about it?
Thank you. Well, this is the most interesting piece here. It's a survival radio from a B-52 bomber. So if you were lucky or unlucky enough to get shot down, this would have been packaged with your life raft.
Right.
And while you're waiting to be rescued, you'd sit with this between your knees. That's why it's got the indents there.
I see, yes.
And crank it.
Right. Generating the power for
and then you'd put together a kite or a balloon, and you'd put that up into the sky with this long antenna.
Right.
And crank away all day, and hopefully someone hears you and comes and rescues you.
Isn't that fascinating?
Crank it, a light shows up.
Shows up in there. It depends.
There's also a light you can put on top of your head as well. Blinks.
Yes, yes. Now, some of the other, are there some valve-driven ones here?
This radio is valve-driven.
Right.
This would have been from an American airplane similar to our Catalina.
Oh, yes.
And it would have come in a set of 3.
Right.
2 receivers and 1 transmitter. But I've only got one piece there.
Right.
This is a very rare piece. This is a Japanese field telephone, and it's been knocked around a fair bit. And there's some Japanese test equipment here, and also another piece of Japanese equipment that I can't find. Oh, here. This is a Japanese field altimeter. So you'd climb to a hill, and you take a reading, and then you update your maps.
Oh, I see.
Right. So I'm not sure where they found this. Hopefully it wasn't in the Blue Mountains.
Right. And sometimes you cable-driven, was it, to phones?
Yeah, all the telephones are cable-driven. So this is an American field telephone.
Right.
The EE8. And these 2 ones here with the black Bakelite handles are English Australian, and they all still work together just fine, and they're all interoperable.
And we've got another Australian one just down there.
We've set up a bit of a demonstration, but it's not hooked up yet.
And so that most of them work, or you can make them work?
They all work except for this one. This one would have been taken home from the war, and someone's turned it into a workshop telephone.
Oh, right.
So he's pulled it apart and
changed it around.
A lot of the parts are missing.
Can you still get the valves, or do you just?
Well, that's why I collect telephones, because they're easier than radios.
Right.
So,
Yes, that's good.
it's hard to fix old radios.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Anthony.
Thanks, Bruce.
And
this is
thank
Albert.
Thank you
He's
very
my
much for
apprentice.
that. You enjoying the display?
We are. Yeah. Pretty
it's
good. Thanks for putting it on.
Oh, it's a great size, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Wonderful.
Busy today.
Yeah. Good on you.
Okay,
Nice
thank you.
meeting you.
Nice one.
So guys, you're colouring in, are you? Doing a good job.
Great job.
Very good indeed. Have you found it interesting to look over? What's interested you the most? Right.
Old cars and uniforms and stuff.
Very good. Hi dear, could you tell me what you're colouring in? You're very accurate, aren't you? Looks very good. The display here in the background is what John and I have put together over a few months, and were at the military display put on by the Historical Society, which is proving to be very popular. There's a huge crowd of people that have been going through for the last 3 days. So much to see and find out about the World War II history. But we've done our bit by doing that display you see in the background, which was taken mainly from RSL archives, the War Memorial, the Caribbean, and also the Anzac Day services. Graham, the display here, it's quite outstanding, isn't it?
Well, it's been several years in the making, Bruce. Supposed to be here, of course, in 2020 for the 75th anniversary of the end of the World War II. But here we are, and it's happened. And all credit to Alan McRae. Just a wonderful, wonderful concept, and putting it together. And a number of exhibitors who were here, and of course you've got Alan McRae right here now.
Hello, Alan.
Sorry.
We'll talk to you in a bit.
Talk to him in a bit. But yeah, it's spectacular. I mean, you can spend hours, literally hours here.
Yeah.
Hearing that something like 6,000 pieces on display. That could be the photographs, it could be artefacts, it could be this or that. And you'd need a month to go through it all. It is just wonderful. So many good photographs of Bathurst during World War II. That's the thing that I found was quite impressive, the number of photographs of Bathurst during World War II. And the number of people who've got, Bathurst people who've still got families who associated with World War II. So it must be for them a great nostalgic trip to go through. So wonderful exhibition, and all credit to the people who put it together.
And people seem to have travelled from all over Australia to put on their displays.
Yeah, they have done. There's people, exhibitors who've come from here, there and everywhere. I was particularly interested in the replica Victoria Cross of Blair Walk, Bathurst's own Blair Walk, who earned his Victoria Cross towards the end of World War I. And there's a replica of it over there. So there's so much to see, and the people who miss out are the people who will miss out.
Yeah.
That's it's wonderful.
It's great to see the pavilions used so much, and also the pavilions look to be restored, don't they?
They're in good condition, yes, they're in good condition. And of course this place here is just ideal for something like that. It's big, it's open. You need a beanie on most of the time to walk around, but it is ideal. Yeah, big open pavilions here, and ideal for this sort of display.
Thank you so much, Graham.
Good on you, Bruce. Doing a great job.
My name's Sarah Swift, and I'm a volunteer with the Bathurst District Historical Society, and it's really good to be here for such an important event.
Wonderful.
My name's James Dietrich. I'm also with the Historical Things, and I came here on Tuesday and was helping with the setting up, and I'll be here right through till Tuesday.
And James, it's fascinating. So much variety in the displays, isn't it? So much material.
There is, and some of this weaponry and things like that and uniforms I've never seen before in my life, and it's very interesting to see how people looked during the Second World War era.
Sure. And Sarah, so you're obviously keen on history, are you?
Absolutely, yes. I'm a trained history teacher, and just enthusiast, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. And what's really important is for young people, like my daughter here, to experience what it was like, 80 years ago, and what my grandparents and great-grandparents all went through, and to see not only the war displays, but to see what it was like during peacetime as well, to see the movies that were out, that were, Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, things like that. They were all out at the time of the war. So the day-to-day life and the costumes, or the clothes what people wore when they were here at home on the home front is really important as well.
Excellent. No, it's great. The history group is very active, aren't they, with so much going on here. It's a great credit to you all. So congrats for helping with the display.
Thank you for
thank you for recording it.
Thank you for recording it.
Alan, well, we're into day 3, and I said I'd come back and ask you how it was going. Are you pleased with what's been shown and how many people?
Oh yes, certainly. It's like a soup kitchen at the moment. They're all shuffling along in lines to see all the various exhibits, and it's quite astounding seeing all the kids who keep coming back to have a look for more of the items that are being shown. So it's really pleasing. Don't have any official numbers yet. We'll have some after tomorrow, but it's really great to see all these people coming along from Bathurst and District and the South Coast and Sydney and the ACT and who are just coming to have a look at it. Some are staying overnight, some are actually here for 2 nights, so really, really great.
And what an excellent area, the pavilions, to display the quantity of what has been shown.
Oh, certainly, as you say, me personally, are extremely pleased to be in the historic part of the Bathurst Showground, and we've been moved from the cattle shed and around and then into this area and into that area, but we're finally back to the traditional pavilions. They've recently been upgraded and a great job they've done.
The Historical Society, you've seen it develop. It's a very strong group, is it, in Bathurst?
Yes, we're probably getting slightly less numbers, but then all our members are getting older, and the younger ones don't seem to appear to be interested too much in history. But most of the people that are really into history are the retired generation. But I suppose if you're trying to work and you've got family and you've got all the rest of it, you really don't have much extra time to join these societies or groups until you're older and retired.
But it's certainly at our ages, or at the average person's age for display, the enthusiasm is really outstanding, isn't it? How much work we tend to put into our interests.
Yes, you're right. And a prime example are all these younger people here who have dressed up in sort of various uniforms, Australian, British, American, Russian, German, and it is their passion. They've had to give up the weekend to come to Bathurst. Most of them are dry, fortunately, unlike the other group outside, which are quite wet, but no, and the astounding amount of material they've got, which is authentic. So you have to realise most of this stuff is over 70 years old.
For sure. Well, congratulations. I wouldn't get through everything in a week, but I've certainly learned so much, and I think we've got quite a great film with all the interviews, and particularly yours, Alan. I do congratulate you on putting so much effort into bringing history to life. Mary Fletcher, President of the Historical Society. Mary, you must be very pleased with how this display has been going.
Oh, it's been fantastic. We're so pleased with people are supporting it, and it's just great. The numbers have been terrific, so we're really pleased. Yes,
consistent great numbers for the 3 or 4 days there. And what a wonderful photo display that is in the background.
Oh, yes, it's great. And the work that's gone into it is just unbelievable. Alan McRae is just unbelievable, what the amount of work he's done. And yeah, we're so thrilled to be able to help support and sponsor it. the event, and yeah, we're really looking forward to even more people coming and enjoying it. So it's great.
For sure. No,
Yes.
it's such a credit to you guys in the Historical Society. How many things you have on. I think it's so important we understand the history of Bathurst and beyond.
Oh, definitely, yes. So people that are in the society, they're so enthusiastic about projects that they take on, and they just so much research they do, and it's just terrific, the ideas that people come up with and
Yes.
what they can show people, and yeah, it's really great. So yeah, I'm loving
And
it.
the exhibitors, they would have travelled some of them fair distances with their displays.
Yeah, some of them have come from all over the place. I'm not sure Alan would have all those details, but yes, I know they've come a lot of long way, some of them, and Wagga I know for sure, and on the mountains, and yeah, and even people today have come from Sydney, which is great to see the exhibits, so it's terrific. Yeah, it's really good. So
I must say how much I appreciate your society in leading me to still continue to film, because I get such a joy out of recording history. So thank you to you and your society or committee members and the volunteers. Everyone pulling together has done a great job.
they have, and thank you, Bruce, for everything you've done for us and over the years, and all the interviews you've done and the photos you've taken. They're marvellous, and we really appreciate your involvement with our society and all the events. So thank you.
Oh, I don't deserve that much praise. It's,
Yes, you
it's
do.
the people in front of the camera like yourselves, but
Well, it's something
so,
you enjoy, obviously.
yes,
Yeah.
it's so good to be able to record it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mary.
That's all right. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.